Shalom, shalom. Call halal Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. That honors the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and Ruel. And salutations to the brethren on the four corners of the earth, pushing the word in truth and in sincerity. This is Ira from Great Millstone, Wisconsin. And wanted to say a few words concerning a Judas Goat. One of the younger brothers, one of the brothers in the camp, brought this out. And I thought it was real interesting concerning what a Judas Goat was. I always heard this term. And even in the truth, I always heard this term, but I never really paid attention to what a Judas Goat was. So I wanted to do a brief video on it, and to show the dynamics between, the term and what the Judas Goat was used for and what the Judas Goat represents in the scriptures, So without further ado, this is the Wikipedia of Judas Goat. So the Judas Goat is a trained goat used in general animal herding. The Judas Goat is trained to associate with sheep or cattle, leading them to a specific destination. So the Judas Goat is really an imposter, that's been trained to interact or act like sheep and act like cattle to get them to trust, so he can lead them to a specific destination, right? Trust me so I can lead you to where you're supposed to go. It says in stockyards, a Judas Goat will lead sheep to slaughter while its own life is spared. And that's exactly, when you look into the scriptures and you go into John 18th chapter, that's exactly what Judas, which that's where the name Judas Goat came from. That's what Judas did to Yahweh Shai, and the disciples. He led them to a specific point and place that was familiar and, led them to be taken while he was spared, for those little measly shekels of gold, man. It says Judas goats are also used to lead other animals to specific pens and onto trucks. They have fallen out to use in recent times, but can still be found in various smaller slaughterhouses in some parts of the world, as well as conservation projects. It says cattle herders may use a Judas steer to serve the same purpose as a Judas goat. The technique and the term originated from cattle drives in the United States in the 1800s. The term is a reference to Judas Iscariot, a disciple of Yahweh Shai, who betrayed him, And that's exactly what he did. Judas led Yahweh Shai and the disciples to a specific place, and they were taken, man, Whether they were, loaded onto a truck or loaded onto a wagon and brought before Pontius Pilate, or they were put to death, it makes no difference, even though we know the outcome. He became that Judas Goat that led them to their slaughter, man. This is John 18th chapter, verse 1. It says, when Yahweh Shai had spoken these words, he went forth with his disciple over the brook Cedron, where was a garden, into the which he entered and his disciples. And Judas also, which betrayed him, knew the place, for Yahweh Shai oft times resorted thither with his disciples. So like the Judas Goat says, Judas Goat is a trained goat used in general animal herding. The goat is trained to associate with sheep or cattle, So Judas was a disciple, man. He was trained, He was a disciple that knew and was familiar with the disciples, man. Which would be the sheep and the cattle in this instance. It says, for Yahweh Shai oftentimes resorted thither with his disciples. Judas then, having received a band of men and officers from the chief priests and Pharisees, cometh thither with lanterns and torches and weapons. Yahweh Shai therefore, knowing all things that should come upon him, went forth and said unto them, whom ye seek ye? They answered him, Yahweh Shai of Nazareth. Yahweh Shai saith unto them, I am he. And Judas which betrayed him stood with them. As soon then as he had said unto them, I am he, they went backward and fell to the ground. Then asked he them again, whom seek ye? And they said, Yahweh Shai of Nazareth. Yahweh Shai answered, and have told you that I am he. If therefore ye seek me, let these go their way, that the saying might be fulfilled which he spake of them, which thou gavest me, have I lost none. So the point here is that Yahweh Shai was and the disciples were at a certain garden that Judas Iscariot knew about in order for the Romans to take them, man. You know? And when you think about it, it's the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing that's being committed here in the modern times, man. You know? These so-called pastors and reverends in these churches, these so-called prophets, of the people, they are Judas Iscariots, man. They are imposters that are trained, that are trained or that have been among the sheep and the cattle, that are leading us, or that are leading Israel to their deaths, man. So in exchange for their own lives, it's called a 501c3 charter. And then you have these so-called other Israelite groups that are doing the same things, man. They aren't really warning them of our people of the danger that are to come, but rather subjecting them to it instead. This is Galatians chapter 1. I'll start at verse 6. It says, I marvel that ye are so soon removed from him that called you into the grace of Yahushai unto another gospel. So this is Paul speaking like to the Galatians, like, man, I'm surprised that y'all are speaking all these damnable things, and being in another doctrine, which is not another, but there be some that trouble you and would pervert the gospel of Yahushai, and that's exactly what, Deacon Ace Asshole and Pastor Porkchop and Bishop Bacon are doing, man. These waywardly Israelite groups, even the conscious community, are biting off of the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and trying to turn it into something that it's not, man. Something perverted, leading our people astray. It says, but though we or an angel from heaven preach any other gospel unto you, then that which we have preached unto you, let him be accursed. As he said before, so say I now again. If any man preach any other gospel unto you, then that ye have received, let him be accursed. For do I now persuade men or the Most High? Or do I seek to please men? For if I yet please men, I should not be the servant of the Most High. And that's what a Judas Goat does, man. A Judas Goat pleases men in order to lead them to slaughter, man. And Paul's telling you, like, hey, I'm not going to please men, I'm going to please the Most High, and persuading you, knowing his terror, man. And that's exactly, what we do here at Great Millstone, man. What we do, or we persuade men, knowing the terror of the Lord, not for any filthy lucre's sake or for any safety from what's to come. What can possibly secure our safety better than Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, man? But you have a lot of guys out here that are dumb, that are dumb dogs, man. This is Isaiah 56:10. His watchmen are blind. They are all ignorant. They are dumb dogs. They cannot bark. So they can't warn you of the things to come, And even if let's say they knew, exactly the things are to come, they wouldn't warn you because they're the ones leading you to the slaughter, man. What's the term called? Sheepdogs or I can't remember the term for it, but it's they would use the dog as the Judas Goat, so to speak, to lead the herd, where they needed to go. I think it's called cattle prodding, I think. It's like if I don't remember the correct term, I'll put it in the description below. But it says they cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. So instead of warning our people from the coming calamities, they slink down and they enjoy pleasures, man. It says, yea, they are greedy dogs which can never have enough, and they are shepherds that cannot understand. So not only are they dogs, but they're greedy, and they can't really understand what's to come. They can't really understand the truth. They all look to their own way, every one for his gain from his quarter. So they look to their own ways, man. They look to save their own lives, to secure their own financial future and their own gain from what? From selling out their people, man. Matter of fact, I have one more scripture here, 1 Peter 5, because this is this is a testimony to what men of the Lord are supposed to be like. How we're supposed to be constrained. We're supposed to feed the flock with all sincerity, instead of feeding them to lead them to to their untimely deaths, man, or their demise, man. This 1 Peter 5:1 says, "The elders which are among you I exhort, whom am also an elder, and a witness of the sufferings of Yahushua, and also a partaker of the glory that shall be revealed. Feed the flock of the Most High which is among you, taking the oversight thereof." See, not only are we to feed the flock, with knowledge, wisdom, understanding, but we're to take the oversight thereof. Meaning, matter of fact, let me look at that word oversight here.
Strong's G, 1983, episkopeo.
Episkopeo, which means, here we go, which means to oversee, by implication, to beware, look diligently, take oversight. It says to look upon, inspect, oversee, look up after, care for, of the care of the church, which rested upon the elders, to look carefully, beware. So the oversight thereof, taking oversight thereof means taking the care, not by constraint, but willingly, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind, So we're supposed to be willing to look after the flock and willing to guide the flock in the direction that they need to go, man. Not for filthy lucre, meaning not for money or any type of filthy desire, because that perverts what you're doing, And if it perverts what you're doing, can pervert your mind into steering them the wrong way for the right price, man. So we have to be of a ready mind to instruct them the right way and to lead them in the right direction, man. That's the whole cause of the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, man. They are the true shepherds. They feed the flock the right way, and they lead us with taking the charge of the oversight, meaning the care, Verse 3, it says, "Neither as being lords over the Most High's heritage, but being examples to the flock. And when the chief shepherd shall appear, ye shall receive a crown of glory that fadeth not away." So when the shepherd that appears, which is Yahushua, the ones that are feeding the flock and taking the oversight thereof will be receiving a crown of glory, man, and will rule in the kingdom of heaven. See, that's the end all be all that these other guys that are claiming to be shepherds and claiming to be pastors and things of that nature, and claiming to be elders and deacons and bishops, they can't look to the end to see that the Lord crowning them for feeding the flock and steering the flock the right way. They're looking at now and what they can gain now. They're doing it for filthy lucre's sake, But the true men of the Lord do it out of care, as a ready mind to receive a crown of glory, So with that was all I wanted to say on the subject. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadah, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and Ruel, and salutations to the brethren on the four corners of the earth, pushing the word in truth and in sincerity. Shalom.